So recently, I put out a video um, asking where is the video that is showing Carmelo Anthony actually deleting uh, Austin Metcalf. It's been on social media for the last few days. All you see is breaking news, leaked video shows this, and the young man is guilty as sin. And I'm sitting here, been watching this, and I'm like, man, ain't no leak video out there because if it was, it would have been, you know what I'm saying, it would have been all over social media. Hell, TMZ would have had it, or somebody would have had it and been able to post, it'd have been on TikTok, especially TikTok, shoot, TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter. It would have been somewhere, but yet it's nowhere. And I remember that I saw a news story where a reporter actually went and saw the video, and you can go back and see the video. I just put it out like maybe a day or two ago. And he said what he saw, and that basically you could barely see anything. And it was a grainy, blurry film. It was hard to tell anything that happened. All you can really tell is the before math and the aftermath. What happened beforehand and the aftermath of what happened. That was about it. But man, the comments I got showed me the prejudice of this country, of the people here who have who's following this case. Because everybody want to say, "See, I knew it is guilty as sin." No, no, no. They telling me that I was defending Carmelo Anthony, and that my views are racist and prejudice, and this, that, and the third, and call me all kind of everything. It's everything. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, it shows me the ignorance of people because for you to even comment like that shows me that you didn't even watch the video or you didn't even understand what the video was about. Because matter of fact, I said in the video that I'm not stating or trying to fight or trying to make y'all believe if he's innocent or guilty. All I'm asking for is where's the video? Help me come to a conclusion that needs to be that needs to happen. Because if he's guilty of if he's guilty of a crime that deserves for him to be put in prison for a number of years or for life, then doggone it, I want to see it too. Just like a jury is going to be able to see everything. I want to see this leaked video because if there was a leaked video, well, like I said, that would pretty much seal his boy's case. And now he's going to have, then he would probably been done pled guilty of a lesser charge. You see what I'm saying? So what y'all are saying out there is not making sense. But anyway, I don't want to get all into that no more. I see silly people because matter of fact, somebody one of the commenters said that I was silly defending a guy, but then I actually had a commenter who said who actually replied to what that person said, and they said that he's not saying that Carmelo Anthony is guilty or innocent. He's just asking for the video, which is what I was doing. That was it. Show me the video to help me make a conclusion based on facts and evidence, not on opinions, not on emotions, and not on prejudice, because that's not how the court system is supposed to work, right? The man, the young man is entitled to a trial of his in front of his peers, right? And it should be a fair trial. He should be afforded a proper defense. All because he's a citizen of this country. But like I say, everybody want to say he's guilty, don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. So it is what it is. But anywho, like I said, I don't want to dwell on that too much. What I'm talking about now is that yes, he has been formally indicted. So everybody's saying again that since he's indicted, he must be guilty. But that's not how grand jury works. I tried to explain that a little bit. It just went over some people's head. So what I felt is if you don't want to hear me, uh heterosexual black male, maybe you'll listen to the lawyers. So we're gonna play a couple of clips. We're gonna play a news clip, and then we're gonna play exactly what both lawyers said, so that way you can understand how the law works, and so hopefully we can move forward. Because as a man, you you got to stand on principle based on, like I say, facts, understanding, logic, not emotions, not prejudice, not the prejudice that you hold or the bigotry or the racist views you may have. You're supposed to stand on a principle all the way around, whether you agree with it or not. You got to understand it is what it is, and that's how we operate. That's how the world maintains structure and calmness. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna get into these two videos. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
Start now with some breaking news that was first reported this afternoon by JD Miles online at cbsnewstexas.com. A Collin County grand jury has now indicted Karmelo Anthony.
He is accused of killing another high school student at a track meet. The story has generated national interest, and our JD is live at the Collin County Courthouse, where he's been gathering reaction to this decision. JD.
Karen and Ken.
Now, for those of you who know, like I know, understand what I'm saying, pay attention to how this news station presents this story.
Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis says his office has been presenting evidence for weeks to a grand jury panel here and asked that panel to return an indictment of first-degree murder on Karmelo Anthony, which they did today.
Now, we know this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond, and that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves.
Yep.
Willis delivered that video statement after the indictment was handed down. A first-degree murder charge carries a 5 to 99 years or life in prison sentence if convicted. Karmelo Anthony is accused of fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf during a track meet inside a stadium where both of their Frisco ISD high school teams were participating. Anthony told police he acted in self-defense and was provoked by Metcalf during an altercation that preceded the stabbing. Anthony's attorney emphasized his plans to use that defense in a video statement released earlier today.
Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense.
The father of Austin Metcalf issued a statement to us which says, "I am pleased that we are moving forward with the first-degree murder indictment. It now goes into the court system. I fully believe that justice will be served for Austin Metcalf. I look forward to the forthcoming trial, but it will never bring my son back."
And he also told TMZ that if Karmelo Anthony was 18 years old, that he would be for the death penalty. Because, see, like I try to tell people, he's 17 years old. He's tried as an adult. That, I mean, in this, let's say like this, in this state, 17, if you commit a crime at 17 years old, you can be tried as an adult. I mean, it's the law. It can happen. So based upon his age, it's not uncommon that he was tried or charged as an adult. But if he was 18 years and older, then the death penalty would have been on the table. But it's not because he was 17. So, I mean, just whether you like it or not, fair or unfair, dude, that's the law.
I'm told the next step in this legal process will be assigning a judge to the case, and that could happen tomorrow when we expect to get a copy of the indictment. That judge will then decide on when to set an initial appearance for Karmelo Anthony, and that could be days, it could be weeks, it could even be months. And as far as a trial date, I'm told that could be well into 2026. Live in McKinney, JD Miles, CBS News, Texas.
So you saw that newscast. You noticed that what they showed were clips of what the attorney said, which doesn't do either one of them any justice. So what I want to do is I want to play the actual videos that both attorneys put out once this indictment was brought down. First is going to be the district attorney, and then it's going to be Carmelo Anthony's lawyer. So let's hit it.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
Today's indictment of Karmelo Anthony is an expected and routine step in the legal process. An indictment is a procedural step that happens in virtually every felony criminal case. It's a document that lays out for both the prosecution and the defense what the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. An indictment simply means that a grand jury, after hearing only the prosecution's side of the story, determined that there was enough evidence to allow the case to move forward to court. That's all an indictment means. Karmelo and his family are confident.
Like you said, this is a common practice. Matter of fact, think about all the trials that have happened, all the court cases that have happened, and the defendant has been found not guilty. You know what happened before that not guilty verdict came down? There was a trial. Okay. You know what happens before the trial? Oh, the district attorney has to present evidence to the grand jury in order to try to move the case forward. Shout out to OJ Simpson and his legal team. So basically, what I'm saying is the grand jury is presented with evidence that the district attorney has to turn over or has to show them. Hell, it could be a case of like self-defense. It could be like a shootout in front of a house, and it could be self-defense. You still going to district attorney, still can give evidence, show evidence to the grand jury for a trial, and the grand jury be like, nah, this is straight up self-defense, so we're not, it doesn't warrant being moved forward. That's all. So basically, that's all he's saying, that just because Carmelo is indicted does not mean that he is guilty, y'all. Pay attention to the law. What do I tell my people that we need to know? Taxes and law. The law, like the legal, like the legal system and the tax system. Those are the two things that we need to understand, because those are two things that pretty much dictate, say how we shake and move in this country. Basically the world, really, but in this country for sure.
In the justice system and the people of Collin County to be fair and impartial. Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear. It's only in a trial that both sides get to present evidence and cross-examine each other's witnesses. This is why our justice system is based on the principle of a full and fair trial. That's because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and that impartial justice can be done. We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense.
Now, you hear what he said? That's legalese, man. Talking about reasonable doubt. Can't rule out reasonable doubt. Not guilt or innocent. just reasonable doubt, because in a trial like this, you got to have in a trial in a court, you know what I'm saying, in a trial like this, you have to have a criminal trial. You have to, it'll be a reasonable doubt. All 12 jurors have to see it your way, one way or another. So if all 12 jurors don't think, or they have to, yeah, I'll have to believe that he's 100% guilty. If they don't believe that, they cannot, they can feel it. They can feel it, but it's got to be based on the evidence. Years ago, I was on a jury, and it was a guy suing a restaurant or a club or something. He was out late one night. He got beat up. Okay. He sued the owner of the parking lot. He tried to sue them for damages because they didn't have provide enough security. Now, this is like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they didn't provide enough security for him to, or you know what I'm saying, for him to be safe or what have you. Now, when we went off and I'll say, yeah, I went off what was in the what was presented, like I say, in the jury room, in the jury chamber. But anyway, in the court, like I say, in the trial, he talked about, he had showed bruises, battered, beat up. Doctors, know stuff like that, saying he was coming, coming from was coming from a nightclub, walking to his car, got into altercation, got beat up pretty bad, and said there should have been security that would have stopped him from getting beat up. That's pretty much what was told in the trial. Once we got back to the jury, back to the jury room, I started looking through the evidence that they gave us, because this is what they're giving us, so we can use it, right? So I'm looking through it to what happened that night, and what happened was that this guy was pissy drunk, walking through the parking lot with his peoples, uh, saw some black people, got into an argument with him. I forgot what it was over, but ended up calling the brother the N-word. Now, that's when the dude turned around, confronted him, and a fight ensued. That's what was in the evidence. So when I saw the evidence, I'm like, oh no, this dude ain't getting no money, because number one, it was his fault that number one, he provoked the fight. You see what I'm saying? He provoked this dude and stepped it up a notch, like pretty much dared this guy to say do something. And the guy did, and he messed around and found out. So again, like I say, it's about a reasonable doubt. So we're like, nah, he can't get no money because it was his fault. No, he's the one who instigated the whole incident. So he messed up his case then. But my point is, it's about the evidence. It's about a reasonable doubt. Now, this was a civil case, wasn't a criminal case. It was a civil case because he was trying to sue them for like damages and money and stuff like that. But that's all I'm saying is, like, in the trial with a the jury looks at the evidence and makes a decision based on that. Like I said, not by emotions, but like I said, in the criminal trial, it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. 100% dude's guilty.
Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense. The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense.
So see, I hope y'all getting a lesson in law right now. Because what did he say? That it's not up to Carmelo Anthony or attorney Mike Howard to prove self-defense. It's up to the prosecution to prove that it wasn't self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. Again, you can get upset, think it ain't fair if you get off or get minimal time in jail. You might think it ain't right, but it's the law. But I tell y'all all the time in my videos, The law, you gotta you can run with that with a grain of with a grain of salt, as they say, because just because it's the law doesn't actually necessarily mean that it's morally right. Like I always say, slavery was legal for hundreds of years, or at least over 100 years, while the country while the United States was formed. In the beginning stages of the United States being formed, it was legal. Like Jim Crow laws, this stuff was legal. It was wrong. It was morally wrong, but it was legal. It was the law. So you had to abide by it until you could get it changed. Find ways to get it changed. It was like it was legal. Like if white folks wanted to make black folks or non-white people sit in the back of the bus, it was legal for them to do that. But then once the Montgomery bus boycott started and lasted like almost a year and a half, a year and 3 months, a year and a half, they had to change the law saying that anybody can sit anywhere they wanted to on the bus. So, like I say, you take it how you want to with the law, but right now, what he's saying is the law. So just be prepared.
We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions.
Racial.
Please remember that there are real human beings, kids,
Real life.
on both sides of this case. We ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court. We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done.
So there you have it. A short summary of how the law works and how it's supposed to and how it's going to work in this court case. Again, I don't know. I can't say if he's innocent or guilty of the charges. Cause think about it too. You see how many cases have you seen where they trying to decide, is it like murder, what's it, self-defense, homicide, murder in the first degree, second degree, third degree. You see what I'm saying? They trying to figure out which, because what they want to do, they want to find the charge that they know got the best chance for them to win. Does not necessarily mean it is the right charge, but by the law, they got to use this charge to at least get some kind of win. Because if they try to let's say like murder or something like that, but it's like a homicide, and it's because murder is like what, premeditated, something like that. But then they say, no, they come to find out it ain't premeditated. He did take this person. I ain't talking about this case, just in general, that somebody's life was taken, but it wasn't murder because it wasn't like premeditated. He didn't intend to do it. It was a simple homicide. The person gonna be found not guilty and they can't bring him to trial no more. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I said, you darn if you do, darn if you don't, depending on what you use. So basically, like I said, man, look here, we got a long time until this trial starts. Like I said, I mean, I feel, what I'm saying, condolences out to the Metcalf family, because nobody wants to see their child die before them. Nobody wants to see anybody in their family get taken out like that. Not at all, man. It's just, especially, I know you don't want to see your child. I can't imagine how that feels. But then in the same case, again, hey, we got to use the law and trust in the judgment of the law, of the judge and the jury, and live with it, whatever it is. I mean, hey, could he have walked away? Maybe. Could he have just brandished, dang, can't talk, brandished the knife or whatever he used to stab the dude, just showed it and walked away to the future system? You know what I'm saying? Possibly. You know what I'm saying? But this is real life. This is not TV. Television makes you think that you can make a decision. You got 10, 15 seconds to look at each other, music start playing, and you can make a choice. In real life, man, it's like bam, bam, bam. You done made a choice, now you done messed up. And there ain't no do-overs. Young brother made a mistake, a big mistake. in my age right now, if I was in, let's say if I was in that situation at that age, probably would, I'm gonna say probably. It's possible. I ain't gonna say probably because I don't know. But it's possible that I could have did the same thing he did at that age. But at 48, if the same situation happened, something similar like that happened, would I do something like that? Probably not. Probably would just get up and walk off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do want to move? No, now I don't know if I walk off. Maybe a fight can ensue. You know what I'm saying? Try to hit him with a one hit or quitter, whatever the case may be. But trying to do damage to where it could possibly take a person's life, ain't trying to do that right now. I'm at a stage of my life right now. I'm just trying to get home and want everybody else to get home. That's just my goal every day, to get home into my house and enjoy my home, my family, and relax. Simple as that. So I can wake up tomorrow and go fishing. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do right now. Nothing more, nothing less. I ain't trying to sit here and show how bad I am, how tough I am. You know what I'm saying? And get some stripes going to jail. Too old for that. Not made for that. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those four things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. If you would like to support us financially, you can always get a super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or you can go to that description box. There's a couple of links on in there you can click on to help support us that way. Now, if you would like something tangible for your dollars, which most people do, hey, go to marlonrally.com or just simply hit the products below and check out all our luxury items. We got fragrances that last all day. We got silk products, beard products, handbags, and much more. You will not be disappointed. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace and I'll see you on the other side.